speaking of AOC, she was on with New York City Council member, is it Shai Ose? OC? I'm not exactly sure how to say his name. I'm so sorry. We'll look it up. But he's been doing these interviews that are really good. He represents Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights, and asked her after the DNC, or at the DNC, in the middle of it, I guess, about her thoughts on the Democrats' platform on Gaza. And this answer that she had here was better than, her just repeating the ceasefire line at the lie at the debate.
Neither party's official platform, in my opinion, is good on Palestine. I don't think either party right now is doing justice to Palestinians. That doesn't mean that they're the same. I think that a Donald Trump presidency would be absolutely catastrophic. I mean, he's coming out here saying finish the job of a genocide.
There's a lot of people with our politics that are having a hard time getting there in terms of supporting Kamala Harris. How do you think we help them get there in November to beat Trump?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, first of all, it's important to emphasize how valid it is. We're looking at over 40,000 Palestinians that have died under Israeli bombardment, and the current U.S. administration has been continued to provide weapons to Israel that have been dropping on innocent Gazans. To me, when I process this, I weigh through all of the people living under extreme levels of oppression, especially outside of places even like New York. I think about the women that are bleeding out in ER rooms because they live in red states. I think about trans kids that are living in places where their entire families are trying to figure out if they need to pack up their entire lives and move somewhere else. We have to hold all of those things at once. And so to me, the conclusion that I've come to is having more people suffer to put on top of the already horrific suffering that's going on in Gaza is not something that I think I'm comfortable with.
So it's interesting that, first of all, she's right about the substance, in the sense that Trump would be horrific on all of those issues. Harris will be much better on all of those domestic issues. And as it relates to Palestine, I think that the guy that just is literally now seemingly orienting his campaign towards begging for Israel money, and hosted a fundraiser with Miriam Adelson, where he said that he reportedly would promise to annex the West Bank for the money that she gave him. I don't think there's any question who would be better on all of those issues. She's making that argument to voters. Fair enough. But her rhetoric there was better than her speech, right? So she mentioned the genocide, and that's a lot of, there's nothing.
Finish the genocide. I mean, who started it?
Yeah, there's nothing I disagree with there. It's just a matter of what the emphasis is, right? So, I think you can see she's transitioned from, maybe in 2018, she would have said, hey, the Biden administration needs to change course on this. This is what Harris needs to do to assure those voters over, to assure them, to make promises. Now it's more, well, this is all she can do. She's going to do for these other communities, and this is why there's that contrast. And, I still don't think we've gotten an adequate answer in public from a variety of people as to why Harris hasn't done more to differentiate herself on that. I've laid out all of the reasons why I think it's difficult for her to do so, but the strong thing to do politically, and the morally right thing to do, would be to at least give something to show, hey, it's not completely full of despair if you vote for me.
The problem, the situation right now is that we have to hold both things. Everyone is, and that's actually the position of power for Biden and then now Kamala, which is that people know that actually it's horrible to attack women's health care or trans people's health care and those things. They know it's horrible. And Biden and Senator Harris is using that as leverage. And so, yeah, we do. I appreciate,
which Democrats do every election cycle, right?
So the reminder from AOC on that. I much prefer, frankly, if she had washed her hands of this way before even Biden dropped out of the race, like Tlaib did. Tlaib still has her position of power too. Like, there's a way to show courage about this. I don't know, what what this is, because like the truth is, like, yeah, Trump is saying the thing about the West Bank. I am not here to promise that the West Bank is going to be great under a hypothetical Kamala administration. I think it could be absolutely atrocious and another stain on a Democratic leader. I hope it's not. I hope that she does say, like, okay, we're going to actually start conditioning aid at least. I'm not going to promise that to people as far as like, do this, go vote. I'm going to promise you this will happen. I'll promise the stuff about abortion rights and stuff like that. But, you know, the thing is like, I don't think you can promise much other than like a different rhetorical approach and maybe what like the outward policy would be. And
so someone whose brain I think is more susceptible to pressure. I mean, I don't know. I find that inarguable, but I don't know if that's something you disagree with there, Matt. But I mean,
it's how susceptible, because you need to be pretty damn susceptible to make. I think this is like the Democratic Party breaking with states' rights in 1948, and I think that breaking with Zionism would require as much courage. And look, I maybe wouldn't have predicted Hubert Humphrey to have done it back then. I'm not predicting Kamala Harris to do it. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm not predicting her to break with Zionism, but do I predict a shift in strategy from Biden? I do predict that. I think breaking with Israel, I mean specifically like we are conditioning weapons based on human rights. I don't think she's going to. We'll see. I think she's more susceptible to pressure on that front.
I agree with that, but more is not going to make me bet on it.
It's not. Fair enough, and also it's also not necessarily something that you should promise because that depresses activism needlessly.
People should continue to organize on that front. Exactly.
The way to emphasize it is to say this should be energizing in a way that it wasn't, where it felt helpless for Biden. We have an opportunity to have somebody who doesn't have the same ideological framework and can be pressured, even though there are very much those same, structural massive mountains that we have to overhaul as well. Like, did you see her niece posted Democrats for Palestine on her Instagram?
Yeah, I'm not interested in that stuff.
They're trying to hint like, hey, we can't say it. It's not enough.
No, it's not enough. It's not real either. Yeah.
I don't know. Do we see any of the Biden people posting Democrats for Palestine?
But again, like, I just don't think that means anything. I think it's for them. I would do it if I had no say, but I really hated what I was being used on. But like, again, I
just don't think that. I think that Biden's a racist. That's what I'm saying, and I don't think that they're racist in that family.
I agree, but I think it's similar to the situation of.
Obama,
I was on that bus, and then actually, turns out policy is kind of the same.
Yeah, I hear that.
I'm just issuing if you were more negative than I was, then I would be issuing what you're issuing, which is like cause for. I'm just trying to balance this out because like I can't. I feel pretty pessimistic about this right now.
Fair enough.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.